Ashante, ma boo boo patooties. Hope everybody is doing well. I'm all right. I'm still here, still kicking. We are here for our midweek alchemy message, where we are taking a look at the approach to the spiritual lessons of the week and unpacking like how we're handling it, literally, our approach to what's coming at us. So from the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck, we've got Saturn. Saturn has been harassing me in my chart for like my whole life, and it looks like it's going to be with me for the rest of my life. Just very aggressive, very unyielding. So we have Saturn, followed by sparks of light, followed by the androgyne, like androgyne. And underneath, androgyne sounds like an Appalachian name. Androgyne, get in here, it's time to eat. Okay, underneath Saturn, we've got the feminine King of Pentacles. Not the masculine traditional king, but the feminine King of Pentacles. Under Sparks of Light, we have Knight of Wands reversed. And underneath Androgyne, we've got the Star, back from Monday. Here to always something there to remind us of our dreams. Okay, I'm going to let y'all listen to the audio. It's super quick today, and then we'll be right back. All right, we're still in that waxing Aries New Moon energy, but we have to apply discipline, restriction, and structure to force ourselves out of the quagmire of depression and despondency and back into joy and hopefulness, optimism, and strategic action. We know what to do. We have everything it takes. The ingredients called for now are resoluteness, willpower, focus, discipline, determination, strategy, whimsy, joy, positive anticipation, enthusiasm, gratitude, and decisive action. Our dreams can bloom in beautiful ways, but we must garden in accordance to seasons. Now is a fertile and potent time to overcome challenges and claim victory over self-defeat. Okay, so yeah, the message is really, really straightforward today. So we've got Saturn here, which is obviously showing up to remind us of times of the essence. There is a ticking clock, and in order to make use of the daylight, as Jesus liked to point out, and so do your ADs on a film set, we're burning daylight, people. We need to act now while we have the chance, right? So we need to exert discipline and structure, practice restriction, practice consistency, and just sort of like, when you're trying to start like a new workout routine and you don't like doing it yet, and say like you've never been a runner and you first start running, and it's torture, and your legs feel so heavy, and you're breathing so hard, and it feels like the worst. But the benefits are going to come. It's going to take a while, and that people love running, so they must not be complete sadists and masochists. So it must get easier, but you don't know it, right? So you have to force yourself. You've got to force yourself to, whenever if you get up early or whenever, you've got to force yourself to like get those shoes on, get your running clothes on, and just get out there and start and make an effort. And it takes a few weeks of just pushing yourself through the discomfort, pushing yourself through the pain, but eventually it gets easier. And eventually it can even become something that you enjoy and that you look forward to and you don't even want to miss. Well, I think we're in that moment right now where we just have to force ourselves into like good habits. And I think that it's not that we're lazy. I think that we've been underneath constant barrage of psychological warfare that is meant to keep us off track, unsettled, in disarray, right? Everything in upheaval. And that makes us easier to handle. When people are desperate, it makes them more gullible to want to go along with empty promises and don't worry, we know the way, we've got the solution, just trust us kind of thing, right? We're not going to trust anyone. We're only going to trust God in heaven, right? So, and not what somebody else tells us what God in heaven is either. Definitely not trusting that. So we need to exert as much willpower as we can to get over the overwhelm, the fear, the depression, the feeling of despondency, and just hop to it and get that fire under our butt to get started. We are still in the waxing phase of the moon, which is building energy, which is adding more light. And when we have that Aries new moon, so like in the Hebrew calendar, we were on Aries new moon, the last new moon that we had, and that started Passover. But in the Gregorian calendar, the most recent new moon is Aries. And then in the last, so the Hebrew new moon for this month is Taurus. So if you combine those energies, it's like sparks of light, right? That fire, that creativity, that enthusiasm, that inspiration, followed by grounded action, consistency. What is Taurus's tikkun? To get out of their comfort zone, to get out of their laziness, to get out of relaxation mode and into sweating it out. What is Aries tikkun? It's impulsiveness, impetuousness, maybe a little bit of selfishness or temper, right? Or immaturity and starting things, but maybe not following through. So we are like using that Saturn discipline to take our inspiration, our excitement, and that fire and follow through on it. But not just at any time, because we see the sickle here, and that's for a harvest. And we see the feminine king of pentacles, and she's got all this like these flowers around her, which come from gardening, right? So when we garden, it's not enough to give the plants the right amount of water and sun and healthy soil. We have to garden in season. We have to respect the flow of the cosmic openings and gates. And so part of that in our practical life, not as farmers or plants, but when we take action, we have to pay attention to the cycles that we're in and the days of the month that have more positive energy and more momentum to lend to you. Now, it doesn't mean that we want to put our lives completely on hold every time there's like waning moon phase or we're in Mercury retrograde. But if we start to sort of become more aware of these things, we can get ahead of it and we can be proactive during the time when you should be taking action and cultivating ideas during the waxing phase, and then use those waning phase to let go, release, clean up, reevaluate, things like that. So knowing when the time is optimal to act is great. And so right now we're in a very fertile moment in time. There's like all these planets have been in Aries recently. So we really need to jump on that and take advantage of it, even if you just have to force yourself through it, right? My goal over the next 2 days that I have off is to set up my monetization on Substack and Patreon, and then start the new series that will be on like the subscription membership, which will be I think like $5 or $6. We're gonna go back into the Secret Book of James, and we're gonna take that portion by portion in depth, like we have the Gospel of Philip, like we have been doing with the Gospel of Thomas, and like we did with the Gospel of Mary. I want to do more of these. I want to give you guys more Torah lessons, more Bible lessons, more Gnostic lessons. But I just have kind of maxed out on the amount of free time that I have. So if I can get some kind of extra support going for the work through like a small subscription, I think that's going to allow me to continue to make more and more and more. That's what I'm hoping. So I wanted it to be always free and never, have to charge for anything like that. But I never have been able to monetize the ads on my YouTube channel. And now I've missed the Wild West where you could actually make a living doing that. And now the payoff for the monetization commercials is just so small unless you have millions of followers. So this is a way that I can do the work sustainably. But doing this for people who really value the knowledge and value learning through me and with me. So hopefully you guys will like it. I'm excited about it. But that's my goal over the next 2 days, to take advantage of the waxing energy of Aries before the full moon. So what do you guys have something that you've had on your plate that you've been meaning to launch or get started or take that action? Let me know in the comments. You can use that as an accountability. So I believe, though, that we have everything that we need. We have all the experience, all the knowledge, all the wisdom, but it's just about tending to the garden, right? We're resourced, we're capable, but it's about like, I so many times the proverb "a woman of valor" comes to mind, because there are like lines in that poem, like she puts her hand to the spinning wheel, her hands work willingly. She does not eat the bread of idleness. Her lamp never goes out at night. And this isn't just about a woman's work is never done. When we talk about the feminine in scripture, it's referring to the soul. And so the soul, the lamp never going out at night, that means during times of challenge and uncertainty, our hope is never extinguished, right? And just to distinguish certainty from like foolish hubris, when we talk about certainty on this channel, we're talking about a quality of faith called emunah, where it's transcendent of looking at the all the facts. We're not in denial. We're not putting our head in the sand. We're not ignoring new information. We are taking it in, and even in the face of doubt, we transcend that doubt and we believe in the Creator because we have experiential knowledge of the Creator. We are one with the Creator. We have a relationship with the Creator. We know the Creator. We don't just hope and believe. But even for the things in our life, because people have brought up good points recently where a lot of people who suffer from arrogance and hubris, they're very certain, right? They're very certain that they're right, but they're very wrong, right? And so we've been talking about that. That's been coming up in the Torah portion over the week. Like, is it possible to be studying and praying and going through the motions, but still be off path and be wrong? And it's like, yes, actually it is. If you're, misinterpreting or misembodying or, there could be a number of reasons, but having that like doubled down certainty in wrong interpretation of doctrine and theology and ideology can be very destructive, right? But this isn't the same. This is like, I see there's, all these reasons to doubt that this thing is going to work out, or I have doubt that I don't know how my life is going to go because the Creator works in mysterious ways. I don't know if I'm going to have, blue skies and rolling green hills in front of me, or if I'm going to be, having challenges, God forbid. Right? Like I know a God that, doesn't necessarily control everything on earth, and human beings are flawed and we do a lot, of damage. And so I that can bring up doubt, right? I can have doubt that like, what if I've put all this effort into doing this, following my dream, doing this channel, and what if it's not even having a positive effect on someone? Like, I imagine that it is. I think it is. People have given me feedback that it is, but that's the doubt I'm talking about. It's like, I have doubt, but I have such like a deep desire to share through this vehicle that I can't let it go. And I trust that if God doesn't want me on this path, that it will become so apparent and so clear to me beyond the natural opposition that I will receive when I am on the right path, right? So I believe, and so there is healthy doubt, because if you don't have any doubt at all, it's like you're just bypassing. It's almost dishonest. It's like, oh, I don't doubt. I don't have any doubts ever. I've never had fear. I just have faith. God is in control. God is in control. You know what it reminds me of is like during COVID, when COVID first happened and like lockdown was happening and like all the stores were closing, Hobby Lobby, came out and they were all like, God's in control. Everything's gonna be fine. And Hobby Lobby ended up like a week later, like closing the doors. They were in total panic. They couldn't adjust to people just driving up and like picking up their orders and ordering online. Like they were like, God is in control. And then they completely like crashed out and like lost their shit. So that's sort of like cheap, no doubt, I'm so certain. And yet Michael's craft store practiced real certainty. There was lots to be doubtful about, but they were like, you know what? We're doing a good thing here. We're helping the people craft, and we're bringing people together. We got to get those wreaths made, and we're going to figure out a way. Hopefully we can keep our doors open, but we're going to do the best we can by people in the safest way we can and provide people a way to not go crazy during lockdown. And guess what? Michael's thrived, and they set the tone and showed the industry how to do it. So that's the difference. It's like cheap faith that isn't real. It's just a performance versus, my knees are trembling. I'm scared. I see all of the odds are against me. I see the threat. I see even the God who loves me can take me through some pretty scary shit. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I'm like 99.9% that I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right thing, but anybody's guess at the end of the day, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to give what I can, right? So we don't want to have that arrogant, foolish hubris kind of certainty that has no imagination or curiosity for additional discovery and revelation. But instead, I think that what Doubting Thomas showed us, and this is something that I feel like is very helpful that the Chosen does, is it gives Thomas so much more humanity. Why would Thomas be a doubting Thomas? And what we saw in the series, The Chosen with Thomas, was that he went through a horrible heartbreak and a loss, and it created a lot of grief and anger within Thomas. And doubt. Why would you do this? Why? I don't understand. I know that you're the Messiah, so why wouldn't you prevent this kind of pain from happening? Why do you allow these things to happen? That's where the doubt was. But because of that doubt, Thomas overcame that doubt and kept showing up anyway. And he stood by Jesus and he stayed a disciple, even with the doubt. And that's what made him faithful, right? He was a faithful servant, even in the face of doubt. So even in the face of doubt, we have what it takes. We have the creativity, we have the experience, we have the knowledge, we have the spiritual inspiration and the heavenly backing to support us. So really at this point, it's just up to us to get determined to practice that discipline, restrict ourselves from that, self-defeatism or destructive behavior, right? Because we have this spark of light, right? We have this potent, unadulterated light that wants to come in and be shaped and created. And this spark of light, this is like all the potential that's like swirling around us in the unmaterialized state, and it is captured by our minds, and it becomes the spark becomes an idea. And the idea becomes a desire, and it sets fire, and it takes hold of us, and we want to do it. We want to achieve this thing. But, we've got our little Knight of Wands here trying to jump through hoops to make things happen, but it's reversed, right? So this is like a feeling of despondency, We have all this potential and all these sparks of light to reveal as channels of for the creator, right? But the opponent is always trying to steal those sparks of light from us. So how is the opponent successfully stealing these sparks of light? This is Knight of Wands reversed. So you feel restricted by minor disputes. A young man might be the possible cause. So I think that you feel restricted by minor disputes. Right now, every little thing is a huge expense right now. It's a huge ordeal. Gas is expensive. Food is expensive. Everything is so costly. And on top of that, like I live in Nashville and we used to have plenty of parking everywhere. We used to be able to park and go somewhere. Now it's like every single parking spot has one of those paid parking things. Everywhere you go, every little business, like you go to like a big box place, of course they own their parking lots, but any mom and pop business, any of like the, the indie restaurants and bars and places like that, the little local like salons and things, they all have this like all their parking areas have been bought by these big parking monopoly, and so you can't do anything without even having to like stop and pay to park. And it's not even just like you can just throw your little coins in the machine anymore. It's like you have to go through this whole song and dance on your phone. It's annoying. We're having to jump through hoops. Doesn't feel like it's even worth it, right? So it's like everywhere we go, everything's annoying. It's like these feeling restricted by everything, right? And then, oh my God, try being a single woman right now, right? Learning about the Epstein class, just being everywhere. And then learning about this like website that's teaching men these like rape techniques and how out of control the numbers are. 64 million visits on a quiet month in February. The next month it was 80 million something. And this is just one website. There's others. There are people who don't go to the website because they don't know about it, right? There are people that wouldn't go to the website because they're probably not, they're a little smarter about covering up their crimes, right? So this is just a modest number. So you're thinking like, wow, like a third of the men in this country are just like casually trying to learn these tactics and use them on their wives and girlfriends, and I have to go date in this? What? Unbelievable. So yes, feeling very restricted. It starts to weigh on you where you're like, even just trying to put your music out there, if you're a musician or an artist, putting your work out there, or thinking as a writer, getting your work published. And now it's like AI slop is starting to infiltrate the once brilliant minds of the editors and the publishers, and they're just being trained by AI now to water down the artist's work if it is getting produced by major publishers. And then if you're an independent, it's like you put your stuff out there and AI is either copying your shit to train itself to then copy your shit and sell it when you can't even. So my little Etsy shop has it's the tiniest little thing in the world. Nobody knows where it is, how to find it. I've had sales. I've got 5-star reviews. I have beautiful packages that come. They're full of magic, full of mood and human touch and loveliness. And I had this message sent to me the other day that was like, I'm sorry, what was the measurements on this necklace? And I was like, I thought I put all the measurements and everything, but I was like, maybe I didn't, whatever. So I answered them and they were like, thanks, can't wait to order, just ordered, or something like that. And it was like, I checked and there was no order. I was like, double check on your side because I didn't get an order. And then when I reread the message, it sounded like very either like a foreign language trying to speak English, but it wasn't, or like AI. So I was like, great, am I getting ripped off of my designs that I perceived to be unsuccessful, but really probably just went unseen, right? So it's like, geez, like you can't even be invisible and be safe. So it feels almost pointless, but it's like, no, it's not, because people want human-made things. People want human-made art. And we don't want this slop. And so we do have to fight against it. I mean, can you imagine if you woke up and there were no more artists, no more beauty, no more real expressions of the human experience. Oh, can you imagine if like we ran out of comedians? Awful world to live in. So we have to keep our hopes, keep our optimism, keep our fighting spirit. So let's see, what else does the Knight of Wands reverse say? So young man, a lack of energy, despondent. You should be encouraged to try something new. So we've got to get out of this despondency. We've got to shake it up and maybe try something new or try a new approach. Frustration and indecision. You should follow your conscience and act accordingly. Jealousy is causing odd behavior. So pay attention to this despondent, depressed sort of like futility that is kind of taking the wind out of our sail. We have to protect our sparks of light because this is exactly what the adversary wants. The adversary doesn't want us to reveal the light of the Creator in this world through our own individuality, that comes through our unique insight and experience, right? That it wants to snuff us out. The opponent, the adversary, loves these bro-tech fascists, loves them because they're empty, they're hollow, they want to do nothing but destroy. They have no innovation or creativity other than make a machine that takes the place of human beings, make me rich, make me desirable, make me powerful, make me unto a god. Like, get the fuck out of my face. I'm so sick of it. So they are jealous of us because we have panache and they don't. So we are going to keep on keeping on. And you know what? We might even be going back to, putting our efforts and focus on physical in-person attempts at things, right? So say, like, for instance, I have my Oracle deck that I have and I want to publish that, right? Well, if I release it on Amazon, it might get ripped off, right? And so what would be another option if I can't sell it on Amazon? What if I did the thing that people used to do, which is go and like try to sell your book or sell your thing to like local bookstores and local gift shops and places that sell physical goods that people like to go in and browse, and they like to discover things by picking them up. So what if you started that way? And then maybe you could get like somehow into like a box store, like a bigger store, right? And they would carry your product. So maybe going the traditional route, which might seem more difficult and like more further removed, but it isn't. That's how people used to do it. And so I'm sure that we can research how to do that. But I think we all started getting really seduced by, oh my gosh, it's a one and done. I can get, Amazon to publish my book and I can sell it straight to the audience that's already there trying to look for that kind of thing, right? And it's seductive and it feels like the easy way out, but that might not be the only way to do things. There might be another way. So don't give up on, like, say you make jewelry, say you make whatever you make, right? You produce something. I still love going to local gift shops. If I'm going to buy someone something for a special occasion, I try not to order something off of the internet, and I try to go to a local cutesy pootsy store and buy from someone who made something, right? So, and there are other people that love to do that too. So maybe put your energy in that, like, kind of old style, old school, strategies, and then bring that back. I know people are craving community and, in-person things and things that are tactile and analog, right? So let's do it, right? Let's go punk rock. Let's do that little mixtape in the garage. And then the Ajrajin, it's all about the creative, that inner alchemy that happens for people who can channel the muse and make beauty from that. And when we make art, especially that comes from our wounds and our healing and our full array of experience, it touches other people. Whether you be a poet or a visual artist, you put your experience, you put your pain, you put your triumph in that. And you, even if the painting isn't about that, you're processing all this while you're painting. And that is infused, that spirit is infused in the canvas, it's infused in the paint, it's infused in the strokes. When you cook food, when you pay attention to the taking care, to the fineness of your chopping, and the making sure that you've got the best spices, and taking care to the way that you make your food, and being present with it, and caring about how it tastes, and who you're going to serve it to, and all of that. Like it puts a spirit in the thing that you're making, right? We always talk about the seed level of consciousness. Like, where's your consciousness when you put your hands to do something? Because that gets infused in the thing that you're doing, right? So when we talk about soul food, and this was made with love, you can taste the difference. It does make a difference. And when someone makes you something to eat and you're sick, that food that they prepared with their hands, it nourishes you. Whereas if you're sick and somebody comes and brings, like, maybe well-intended, but they just bring you a bunch of cans of soup, you're like, I don't even want it. This is not even food. I don't even want to eat this. You're like, thank you, but I'll just make it myself, because it does. You can tell the spirit, the intention is in your hands, and that is activated in what you're making. So do not give up on your dreams and your purpose and your healing. The healing is attached to the dream taking shape. We've got the star card again, was with us Monday, talking about not giving up on our dreams, not giving up on our healing, on our dharma, our purpose in life, and being aligned with that purpose. And for many of us, it is holding on to saving the beauty in this world, and the things that make it so, right? And contributing to that, and maintaining that. And it takes effort, and it takes determination, and everything else in the world is trying to make us feel despondent and give up and just get out of the way, roll over, and let the inevitable happen. But we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're restricting our fears. We see them, we're not repressing, we're facing our doubts, we're facing our fears, and we're pushing through anyway. We're having determination, and we have the ability to take care of our responsibilities and our dreams, and still take care of ourselves and our homes, and thrive. Right? And we have everything it takes, but it might take every tool in our belt to get this thing done, right? But I believe in you. I believe in us. And yeah, let me know what you are going to try to do to use this next few days of the waxing moon phase energy, right? Are you going to take any action, inspired action during those times to try to get something started, or off the ground, or take the next step, or get it to the next level during this waxing phase? Let me know in the comments. Peace be with you guys. And also, my other channel's got a few new subscribers, so thank you for those who've come over there. I'm excited. My little Instagram has grown too, so I have 5 YouTube subscribers, guys. And I have, I think, 9 Instagram followers on the Elizabeth Rose. So if you're interested in my new platform, it's gonna be similar vibe to this channel, but it's not going to be readings. It's just going to be spiritual study with the scriptures, Gnostic gospels, all the stuff. And then me, like, if I have like any kind of like random spiritual revelation or insight, just talking to camera and things like that. But if you're interested, go follow or subscribe to Elizabeth Rose, or it might be the Elizabeth Rose. If you're not really, like, if you have, like, you're overwhelmed with the content and you're not thinking you might not want to watch that one, then you don't have to subscribe, because right now I'm trying to train the algorithm in a new way. I think I had a lot of, like, people that just knew me in life that subscribed to my other platforms, and they weren't really interested in the content. So that has been very confusing for the algorithm, because it's like, oh, they have all these numbers, but they aren't getting a lot of engagement. And so it's kind of kept me into, like, shadow banning, and invisible. So I'm trying to really only attract those subscribers who are really interested in the subject matter, and who actually are curious and want to watch. So if that's you, come on over. If it's not, then no hard feelings. Just keep enjoying me here. I'll still be here. So I'm still doing this channel, and in addition, I'm doing the other one. And then when I get my Substack set and ready to go, like, I'm already posting everything that I'm making publicly to Substack and Patreon. So if you're on there, you can find me. And that's where you can see, like, everything all in one place. All the stuff that I put on Instagram, all the stuff that I put on here on YouTube, it'll all be together in one spot. I'm also on Facebook, but that's really just another place where I just share everything. My home base is here in Instagram. And it will probably be, I'll probably be doing more on Substack and Patreon too. But for now, that's where I am hanging out. I have, like I said, I have Facebook, but I only go there to, like, post quickly and leave. It's a terrible place. I don't like it. All right, you all, that is all for tonight. We'll be back together tomorrow for our weekly romance oracle message. And maybe, hopefully, I'll be able to post our first official Secret Book of James video tomorrow, is what I'm hoping for. Or sometime over the next couple of days off that I have. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. Ciao.